Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. We're in the middle of a heat wave in the Northeast. Well, at the beginning of it, and from what I understand, it is supposed to be crazy. And I don't feel prepared. I don't think I was prepared for summer to hit this way. But if you guys are not just in the Northeast, but really across the country, and even in the West Coast, I saw it in Phoenix, and it's like 108 degrees, and oh my gosh, they're talking about it's going to be in the upper 90s and heat indices of like 105, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. So that's going to be a lot to deal with. But yeah, that's on the weather front. If people remember my old show online when I used to be on Ustream, you will remember that I used to report the weather. If you know, you know. So that's kind of a little nod to that, but because I know I still have a lot of followers from back in the day, and I'm talking like 10, 12 years ago. And it was a good time while it lasted, you know, but you also know when it's time to move on and, you know, venture into your own projects and things like that. So, but yeah, I wanted to check in because I haven't checked in a while. And you know, I don't even know if it's something I read or something that I saw online. But it was talking about goals. And I know we've talked about goals on this podcast previously. But the person said the goal is to win, not to look like you're winning. And yes, I do think it was another podcast, and I cannot think of the brother's name, but it was another podcast, and I saw the clip on Instagram. If I think of the name, I'll let you guys know. And they said the goal is to win, not to look like you're winning. And I feel like social media has us flipped all the way upside down. People get on there and they post the very best of the best of the best, and you have no idea what's going on in their life. We've seen this happen with social media influencers and things that were going through a lot of trials in their life and unfortunately ended up taking their own life because they were so in a state of depression and anxiety and so many different things, but they posted as if everything was fine. They posted as if they were living the life. They were the life of the party. They were the center of attention. They were all the things. And it really turned out that that wasn't the case at all. So yes, my goal is to win. My goal is to catapult myself further than I was last year. I'm not in competition with other people in my industry. I'm really not. I'm in competition with myself. I want to be better than I was the day before, the week before, a month prior, 6 months previously, a year back in 2023. I want to be better every single time. And for me, that's winning. Every time I reach another milestone, every time I get to another win in my business. Speaking of milestones, I'll say this here. We have hit 60,000 downloads on this podcast, which is incredible. I was kind of waiting to reach the 60,000 mark because I knew it was coming up soon, but it actually has gone over 60,000. And I want to thank everybody who listens to this podcast. Even if you don't like me and you're just listening just because you want to see what the scoop is, whatever the case may be, you are giving me a stream. So if it's a hate stream, hate streams pay the same as love streams, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I thank the people who don't like me too. I don't know why you don't like me. I hope I'm likable, but if for whatever reason that's the case, hey, you gave me a stream, I thank you for it. I never thought starting this podcast years and years ago that it would even get to this point. And let me just be clear, this is 60,000 downloads just since I've been with the Anchor. You guys know Anchor is no more. If you guys used to use Anchor FM or you've heard of Anchor FM, Spotify bought out Anchor. So this is only since I've been with Anchor. That's since, when did I move everything over? I think during the pandemic. So sometime during the pandemic. But I've had my podcast for 12 years. I believe it's 12 years now because I think I've had it since 2012. And yeah, actually I think April of this year was 12 years. So I can't even imagine what the downloads were all those other years prior to me moving to the Spotify, well, it was Anchor, but now Spotify platform. So I'm super grateful. God, you guys don't even know. It's a lot of work to come up with different concepts and things and, for your podcast, the things to talk about. Not just concepts, but what's the other word I'm looking for? Content. Coming up with fresh content. I tell you, content creators, digital creators, influencers, whatever you call yourselves out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's a lot of work. And you don't want to be repetitive, and you don't want to, you want to give people something fresh and something new. And sometimes it can be really draining to do that, because everybody wants to talk about the typical things that are going on in the news. And I think those things are important, but you also want to hit with your audience, the things that they would like to learn, and that's what this podcast really has been. It's been a learning tool for a lot of people, which I will get more. I haven't taken questions in a while. I actually got a couple of emails with questions that I may have to go back and look through and see if I've covered them already, because a lot of times I get some of the same questions over and over. So what I do is I respond back with a link to the podcast of where I already spoke about said thing. And sometimes it's just business terms. Some people, have asked, what's the difference between paid media and earned media and, things like that. Like I have a whole podcast episode about that and, the difference between marketing and branding and, that sort of stuff. So I love doing that. I am going to start getting back into that. I've actually had a few people ask me some questions and I'm like, hey, send me an email and I'll answer those questions. Because what I do is I kind of deep dive into it. I don't just give my viewpoint. I give like the industry viewpoint along with some insights on where the industry is with that particular subject matter. So, people said, is print dying out and should we go digital? If they have a platform of readers and things like that. So those are the sort of things that I talk about on this podcast. I talk about life, because a lot of people who listen to my podcast are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are going through a whole lot. Just we're small business owners who deal with a ton of personal stuff, business stuff. You're trying to make decisions while bootstrapping your business a lot of times. I would say, I don't know the exact percentage, but I would venture to say probably 80% or better of entrepreneurs are bootstrapping their businesses. A lot of us don't have big loans and things. Sometimes you'll get a loan from SBA and, stuff like that, but that's only going to take you but so far. It's not going to take you necessarily through the life of your business. So, we're building as we go along a lot of the time, but one of the things why I started my business is because I wanted to help small business owners feel like they had big business money, that they could sit in the rooms of large businesses and still feel like they mattered at the table, teaching them the lingo that they should know and the way that they should present themselves, the way that they should pitch themselves if they're trying to get media coverage and things like that. You guys know I have a media background and, doing public relations and things like that. And people just think you just show up on set and you just, start talking. People don't realize that you have to have media training. You have to know how to look at a camera. If you've ever seen someone who has not had media training, it's not that hard to spot. They're often looking off into corners. They're not looking at the camera. Sometimes they're looking down because they're, a little shy or whatever the case may be. And if you're going to put yourself out there and you want media, TV media, especially any visual media, even streaming, to be the way to go, because it is one of the strongest ways to get yourself out there, you're going to have to get past being shy, So a lot has gone on, for me as a business owner. I just wanted to kind of check in and just kind of come from the place of, even though you may feel unprepared, your situation is preparing you. Even though it feels super, super difficult and you may feel unprepared, just know that whatever situation you are in, especially from the business standpoint as an entrepreneur, my small business owners and beyond, your situation is prepping you for your next steps. It's prepping you for that big moment. It's prepping you so that when that opportunity comes, you will be prepared. So I wouldn't worry too much. I wouldn't get bogged down in such detail that you don't execute, because that's another thing that we do as entrepreneurs. We are very, very tough on ourselves with execution. We will get so bogged down in the details until nothing gets done. And then we kick ourselves and get mad that, this didn't launch and that didn't happen. And, listen, imposter syndrome is a huge thing among entrepreneurs. So is anxiety. So is depression as well. So, let's support each other. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Is that the saying? Is that how it goes? Yeah, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We're in June. We're pretty much, we're halfway through the year. So this is just another check-in. I know it's been a while since I checked in. I think I checked in on June 1st and then had so many things going on. Got renovations going on at the house. I mean, it's just a lot. In the personal space and in the professional space, there's just been a ton happening. But I always want to check in with you guys to make sure that you're good. But one thing I will say that I will bring back is answering questions. So, I know that I have a lot of episodes of podcasts to look through. I think there's over 500, I don't even know anymore, 520 something episodes that I have. So I've answered and talked about a lot of different things. But again, you can email me And if I've already covered that subject matter, what I will do is I will respond to your email with a link to the podcast for which I covered the subject of your inquiry. So feel free to email me. Hello, that's HELLO, hello at Onyx, ONYX, Queen, QUEEN, media, MEDIA.com. So hello at onyxqueenmedia.com, and let me know what your question is. If it's something, and I would say, it should be business related, something business related that maybe you just want a better understanding of, or whatever the case may be. And I will give you my experience in the situation, or I will even bring someone on to speak more intelligently about it if I don't have any experience in it. I used to get a lot of questions about copyrights and things like that. So I actually brought a copyright lawyer on at one point. And that was actually one of my top episodes. Attorney Arefo was her name. And she really gave such great insight into copywriting and how to make sure that your copyrights are set up correctly, your patents are set up correctly. She covered some really great grounds. So, again, if I don't know or have personal experience with it and can't speak intelligently on it, I will not, but I will find someone and I will have them come on and speak about it. And then we could just go from there. So again, you can email me with your business questions, small business, entrepreneurship, somewhere in that lane. Hello at onyxqueenmedia.com. But yeah, I have really been working on moving my company forward and going into different facets. But I'm very quiet about the moves that I do because, like I said, my goal is to actually win. I don't want to look like I'm winning. I don't want to just look like I'm winning. That's not the look I'm going for. I want to actually be winning. So I am usually a person that kind of keeps to myself until everything is executed, and then I put out to the masses. And that's what I have been doing and working on, is doing that. So stay tuned for more to come from Onyx Queen Media. I tell you, I wish I really could give you a rundown of everything that's going on, because when I tell you I am tired, I am beat, I am worn out, and we're at the beginning of this heat wave that's supposed to last for the next 6 or 7 days. I'm dreading it. But, all the air conditioners, you live in an older home, all the air conditioners are, most of the time, 80% of the time, are window units. But we got them all replaced a few summers ago, so everybody has, brand new ACs going on. So we'll be fine. Wherever we go, whatever room we're in, we will be fine. So anyway, thank you guys again for the 60,000, over 60, it's creeping up to 61,000 right now. 61,000 downloads on Spotify, which is amazing to me. I thank you so much for that, and thank you for supporting this podcast. I'm trying to think. I'll probably come back again this week. Don't forget, this week is Juneteenth. Juneteenth is coming up on Wednesday, and it is an official holiday now. So it is a federal holiday. So whatever you guys decide to do on Juneteenth, it would be great if you gathered with family and friends to celebrate Juneteenth and to remember all of our ancestors who came before us, especially within this country. Definitely a worthy celebration for sure. And just I know people in Texas have been celebrating this much longer than we have. I believe it started in Galveston, Texas. So I know they've been celebrating much longer than I think the rest of the country. It's where I first learned about Juneteenth in Texas, maybe a couple decades ago, and did not even know that much of the history. Just like an overview of the history of basically enslaved people finding out that they were free, which is wild to me. So we're talking 1865, So yeah, try to do something for Juneteenth. I know if you're in the Northeast or even the West Coast that there's a heat wave going across the country right now. Just be safe. Make sure you're hydrated. And I will definitely check in with you guys again this week. Again, thank you so much for we are almost at 61,000 downloads. Thank you so much for that, you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.